The African sun beats down upon the savannah, driving all life to the muddy lifeline of the great watering hole.
Here, the laws of the land meet the terror of the water, a truce constantly challenged by hunger. Beneath the surface, camouflaged perfectly in the silt and shadows, waits the apex predator of the river.
This is the patriarch, a beast of immense age and power, patiently awaiting the inevitable thirst of the mammals. From the dry grasslands, the matriarch Sana leads her family, the heat and dust dictating their every step.
Her young Indian elephant calf, Kito, tired and thirsty, stays tucked beneath her massive legs, shielded from the elements. Sana approaches cautiously. The watering hole, though essential, is always a place of lethal risk. Her trunk sweeps low across the water, testing the air for scent and the surface for any telltale ripple. The patriarch senses the approach, the immense vibration of the great creatures traveling through the earth and water. He sinks lower until only his eyes remain visible, creating two tiny, dangerous, unmoving points on the surface.
Sana slowly steps into the shallow edge of the muddy water, testing the ground beneath.
The younger elephants quickly begin to drink, eager to quench the intense thirst of the savanna heat.
Kito, the calf, is guided to the safest spot, directly between his mother and the slightly deeper water.
The patriarch shifts his position, maneuvering silently through the water, angling toward the weakest prey.
Sana pulls her head back quickly, her ears fanning wide in an aggressive display.
The other elephants, sensing the mother's warning, pause their drinking, their own survival instincts rising. The patriarch freezes, knowing that one wrong move, one ripple, could cost him the element of surprise. Kito, however, lowers his small trunk to the water, his deep thirst overcoming his fear of the unknown.
This moment of vulnerability is the only signal the ancient predator requires to launch his attack.
A sudden, violent churn of water erupts as the immense American alligator breaks the surface in a burst of speed.
He targets the nearest, most accessible target, Kito's vulnerable young African forest elephant calf's trunk.
Sana reacts instantly, an explosion of maternal rage overriding all sense of self-preservation.
She whips her massive trunk down and sideways, a fraction of a second too late to intercept the jaws.
The patriarch clamps down, not on the trunk, but on Kito's soft, fleshy leg, locking his grip instantly.
The patriarch begins the terrifying death roll, spinning his body to drag the calf into the deeper water.
She knows that if Kito is dragged beneath the surface, the fight will be lost in seconds.
Sana pulls back with every ounce of her maternal strength, refusing to concede an inch of ground.
The battle is a primal tug-of-war, the crocodile's relentless teeth pitted against the elephant's raw, unmovable mass.
The patriarch tightens his grip, sharp teeth tearing into Kito's flesh, aiming to disable the calf's limb.
Kito's struggles weaken. The shock and pain are beginning to overcome his ability to fight.
The sound now a battle cry, not a warning. She must turn the defensive into attack.
With a decisive, powerful step, Sana forces her weight onto the struggling crocodile, a dynamic display of raw strength. The crushing force of the stomp narrowly misses the crocodile's head, sending a shockwave through the water. The patriarch flinches, recognizing the lethal risk of the elephant's colossal hooves.
Sana lowers her head,
using the protective tusks of her species as spears to stab and prod the water. The tusks strike something hard, the crocodile's armor, but the painful pressure is felt deep beneath. The patriarch responds by thrashing violently, attempting to sever Kito's leg with a focused roll. The death roll generates massive water splash. Though Sana manages to pull Kito clear of the death roll, the crocodile maintains its grip, dragging the calf into deeper water.
The mother switches tactics, now using her massive head as a battering ram against the water. Sana.
Each impact sends a deafening, dizzying shockwave through the water, disrupting the crocodile's hold.
The crocodile loosens his grip momentarily, frustrated by the relentless, brute force defense.
Sana seizes the tiny window, wrenching Kito hard and fast, trying to pull him free from the jaws. The calf's leg rips free, escaping the crocodile's grasp, leaving a deep, bloody wound behind. Kito collapses immediately on the muddy bank, exhausted and bleeding, but finally free of the death grip. The patriarch, deprived of his meal, turns his full, terrible focus onto the remaining threat, the mother. The crocodile. He lunges again, aiming higher this time, seeking Sana's trunk or her delicate lower jaw. Sana charging forward a few steps, a massive, unstoppable force of nature.
Her tusks connect with the crocodile's body with crushing force, lifting the beast partially out of the water.
The patriarch lets out a hiss of pain, the impact briefly stunning the reptile.
Sana maneuvering her immense body to keep herself positioned between the crocodile and Kito.
The crocodile sinks low into the water, now relying completely on stealth and concealment for his next move. Sana watches the ripples intensely, her ears fanning rapidly, tracking the unseen hunter beneath. Kito attempts to rise, but the pain in his leg forces him back down onto the cool, soothing mud.
Sana gently sucking up water and spraying it lightly over the calf's bleeding leg.
He targets the sensitive, large feet of the elephant, the base of her immense support structure.
Sana pivots with surprising speed, lifting her foot just as the jaws snap shut on empty water. The elephant charges again, her entire weight centered on crushing the reptile's skull. Sana bringing all her weight.
The patriarch barely escapes, whipping his head violently to the side, feeling the wind of the near miss.
Sana maintains her ground, her body a shield, defying the crocodile to breach her defensive perimeter.
The crocodile circles slowly in the deeper water, assessing the immense risk of this confrontation. He has never encountered a maternal defense this aggressive, this relentless in its counterattack. The other members of the herd slowly creep back toward the scene, offering emotional support from a safe distance.
Sana, the matriarch, sends a low-frequency rumble, a sound of reassurance to her injured calf, Kito.
The patriarch senses the mother's attention divided between defense and comfort, preparing his final, lethal move.
With a final, explosive surge, the crocodile launches himself at Sana's trunk, the most vulnerable part of her body.
The jaws clamp down hard, locking onto the thick, sensitive skin of the elephant's crucial appendage. A sound of profound pain and rage, as her very life source is compromised.
She ignores the pain, immediately driving forward with a full-body charge, dragging the crocodile out of the water.
The massive mother elephant delivers a crushing, relentless barrage of stomps and kicks to the crocodile's exposed flanks.
The saltwater crocodile's armor cracks and groans under the monumental, repeated force of the Asian elephant's weight.
Despite the punishment, the patriarch refuses to release his grip on Sana's trunk, maintaining the deadlock. Sana raises her entire body, using the full momentum of her weight to slam the crocodile into the hard ground. The sound of the impact echoes across the plains, a final, decisive blow to the reptile's structure.
The grip weakens. The American alligator's jaw muscles, though powerful, are failing under the intense, repeated assault.
Sana gives one final, enormous shake of her trunk, ripping it free from the failing jaws. The saltwater crocodile, stunned and severely injured, lies motionless on the dry bank for a terrifying moment. Surveying the damage, the immense pain of her wounded trunk evident in her posture, Sana backs away slowly, breathing heavily.
She steps between the motionless crocodile and her calf, creating the final physical barrier. The patriarch stirs, recognizing he is defeated and exposed, far from the safety of the deep water.
Sana watches, trumpeting a series of aggressive blasts, urging the reptile to retreat and leave her territory.
The reptile ignores the screams, focused only on dragging his massive, broken body back to the water.
With a final, aggressive step, Sana emphasizes the high cost of continuing the conflict. The crocodile slips back into the familiar, murky embrace of the water, defeated and scarred.
Sana turns to her calf, using her head to check Kito's wound, ensuring he remains still and quiet.
The crocodile remains submerged, the water's surface completely still, betraying no sign of the defeated giant. The tension, however, remains palpable. Sana knows the crocodile waits for her to lower her guard. Sana taking slow, careful steps backward, pulling Kito with her. She begins to reverse slowly, backing away from the water's edge and toward the safety of the open savanna. Kito hobbles awkwardly on his 3 good legs, leaning heavily against his mother for support and balance.
The rest of the herd, seeing the conflict end, begins to move in a protective formation around the mother and calf.
The matriarch's authority has been proven not by age, but by the ferocity of her willingness to fight. They reach the safety of the dry land, placing a crucial distance between themselves and the water's terror. Sana, the mother elephant. A close-up of her trunk, curling and uncurling slightly in pain and relaxation. The calf, safe on the dry land, collapses once more, exhaustion and shock finally taking their toll.
Sana uses her feet and trunk to gently push and maneuver Kito into a comfortable, secure position.
The other adults in the herd begin to fan the pair with their large ears, offering cooling relief and comfort. Sana is surrounded by her family, the bond strengthened and affirmed by the shared terror they just faced. The patriarch, hidden beneath the surface, begins to slowly move, slipping into the deepest part of the pool. He is defeated but alive, the massive scars of the elephant's tusks now etched into his ancient armor.
The confrontation served as a brutal lesson. Some prey are worth the risk, but never a mother's unyielding wrath.
Sana lightly dusting the calf's injured leg with fine, dry earth, using her trunk. The matriarch looks back one last time at the placid water, confirming the threat has retreated completely. Though the water is calm and the battle won, the silence is broken only by her ragged, exhausted breathing. She immediately turns her attention to Kito, the object of her relentless, violent defense. Kito pushing himself up, the injured rear leg held awkwardly off the ground.
She gently nudges Kito, encouraging him to stand and continue the journey away from the danger zone.
Kito rises slowly, favoring the injured leg,
but finding strength in his mother's proximity.
Sana positions herself alongside Quito, their bodies pressed close, moving at a slow, deliberate pace.
The rest of the herd falls into a strong, protective diamond formation, completely surrounding the mother and her injured calf. The silence now is not tense, but heavy. The silence of exhaustion and deep, hard-won survival. Sana begins to feed, quickly restoring the tremendous energy reserves she expended in the fight. Quito attempts to suckle, drawing comfort, fluid, and essential nutrients from his mother's immense body. The mother Sri Lankan elephant watches the horizon, her vigilance unwavering despite the immediate safety of the herd. She moves them toward a thick stand of acacia trees, seeking shade and a safer place to rest through the night.
The sun begins its final, dramatic descent, painting the dusty battlefield in colors of gold and red.
The herd settles beneath the trees, the large bodies creating a protective circle around the injured calf.
The matriarch is marked, but not broken. The cost of leadership is sometimes paid in flesh and blood.
Quito lies down carefully, nestling his head beneath his mother's protective jaw, finding rest. The herd releases a final, deep, communal rumble, a communication of safety and solidarity. In the deepening twilight, the immense power of the mother's love remains the most formidable force in the wild.
The moon begins to rise, casting long, peaceful shadows over the resting herd.
The wounds will heal, the memory of the terror will fade, but the bond remains unbreakable. Sana's head resting, but her large, dark eyes still maintaining a watchful gaze. The crocodile, far away in the deep water, begins the slow, painful recovery process, his hunger unfulfilled. He has learned that some prey are simply too well defended, protected by a love more savage than his hunger. The long night passes slowly, measured only by the rhythmic fanning of the elephant's protective ears. Sana rises stiffly before dawn, testing her wounded trunk and her sore limbs. The sun returns, breaking the horizon and signaling the necessity of movement and the search for new forage. The journey must continue before the midday heat returns.
Quito stands with a wince, the injury still fresh, but he is determined to follow his mother. Quito rises.
The Sri Lankan elephant herd moves out, leaving the acacia grove behind, their path now set away from the dangerous water.
Sana places herself between Quito and the potential dangers of the bush, maintaining the protective formation.
Her step is slower, her trunk slightly curled, but her pace is steady and resolute. They move toward higher ground, a place where the air is drier and the dangers of the water are far behind them. The scars on Sana's trunk are a permanent badge, a testament to the savagery of her maternal love. Quito follows, his survival a living proof of the strength of the matriarch's defense.
The herd of elephants walks into the new day, leaving the memory of the terrible water battle behind them.
They are massive, powerful, and fiercely united, a force unbreakable by any single predator.
Sana glances back one last time at the direction of the distant, silent watering hole.
In the wild, survival is defined by ferocity, and nothing is more ferocious than a mother defending her young.